Hey guys, my name is Tanya. Thank you for clicking on this video. I am starting off my YouTube channel and I do want to do a brief introduction. I do want to do story time videos, mommy videos, and makeup videos, so stay tuned for that. But today's video is going to be a story time video. It's going to be on my labor and delivery, so if you want to keep on watching and listen to it, go ahead. Okay, so I do want to start off with the very beginning. I did find out that I was pregnant around February. Around February 5th is when I found out. I didn't get an exact due date because I hadn't seen the doctor. They told me I had to wait a while, right? So they gave me the due date of October 12th. Okay, so fast forward 9 months. We are now hitting my 40th week, and the baby still didn't want to come out. It was gonna be a boy, nothing, kept on walking that whole entire week and everything until this one day that I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning because my fiance wakes up at that time typically to get ready for work. So I woke up, I was having what I thought was just cramping, it was really subtle cramps. I didn't think that they were contractions because everybody kept telling me like contractions hurt really, really bad. They were like, so if it just feels like cramping, you're probably not in labor, all this and that. Okay, well, the day kept going, I went to my mom's. I was there since about like 5 in the morning. I couldn't go back to sleep because my fiance dropped me off there because I didn't want to be by myself. So I spent the entire morning right there. I kept getting these contractions. They were about like 15 minutes apart, anywhere from 15 to 12 minutes apart. And then I went to go walk them off. They were off. I didn't feel them at all anymore. And then that same day, it was October 9th. That same day, around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we went to go eat. And while we were eating, I got these contractions back. Except this time they were about 8 minutes apart. And then slowly they started getting to about 6 minutes apart, And the entire time, I just kept on eating. I really didn't think that it was anything because honestly, they didn't hurt that bad. They really didn't hurt that bad. And everybody kept telling me they hurt really, really bad. So I was like, no, they don't hurt that bad. So, we came home. It was already about like 8 when we were at home. And they started getting worse. They started getting about 6 minutes apart. They started getting worse. But I still didn't know if I was in labor or not because earlier that week I had gone and they told me you're only 2 centimeters dilated, you're not in labor, so they could just be Braxton Hicks contractions. So that's what I thought it was, right? So I was telling my fiance that they were hurting a little bit more, and he was like, look, there's nothing that I can really tell you. If you feel like going to the hospital, I'll take you. He was like, but I've never experienced this. I'm a dude. I really don't know what's going on. So if you feel like you can't take it anymore, I'll take you. So the whole entire hour I was like debating on whether I should go or not because I really didn't think that I didn't think it was time yet. I honestly didn't. So I showered, and as I was showering, I got a really bad one. And then they started dropping to 5 minutes. So I was like, you know what? I don't know. So I messaged my mom, my sister. They both told me that I gotta go. So we ended up going. We left around 9:30 here. And then we ended up getting to the hospital maybe around 10, and the contractions were still about 4 minutes apart. And they were hitting harder, but not as bad. And I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but I don't know if whenever you're feeling sick or you feel pain or something, and then you finally get up the courage to go to the doctor, and then you finally get there, and then you're like, in your head, you're like, oh my God, I think it's going away. And you're like, should I even stay? Because I feel like it's just going away. That's how I felt. So that same feeling is the feeling that I was feeling when we were checking in. So I really didn't know if I should stay or not because I was like, I feel like they're going away. Well, they checked me in so that they could check me out and everything and see if everything was fine. So I change, and I lay down in the bed. And as I lay down in the bed, I feel like a super strong contraction. They already have all the machines hooked up to me. And yes, sure enough, the nurse comes back in and she tells me like, yeah, you're having contractions. She's like, they're about like 4 minutes apart now. So they check me and everything, and she's like, you're 4 centimeters dilated. She's like, I'm not sure if we're gonna keep you or not. She's like, let me go talk to your doctor. So she leaves. I'm over here in pain again. And she comes back and she's like, your doctor says that we should just admit you. So everything from that point on, from about like 10:30 to on, just went super, super fast. That like, it felt like it happened in the blink of an eye. So they ended up changing us rooms. The doctor came over. They checked me out again. By the time the doctor got there, it was around maybe like 11:30, 12. And so he checked me. He's like, oh, you're about 5 centimeters dilated going into 6 already. So he's like, your water hasn't popped, so I'm just gonna pop your water. Now, keep in mind, this is my first kid. So I never knew anything about pregnancy, about the labor part or anything. So he goes, the nurse gives him this thing and he pops my water. It feels super warm and nasty. And the nurse right away has to change the sheets under me and everything. So then after that, around maybe like 11:30, 12, my sister and my mom got there. My fiance was also there. So they were all there and they were just keeping me company. The pain was getting worse because they did give me Pitocin to speed up the process a little bit, to try to kickstart more of the harder pains, because I wasn't getting enough strong contractions. So it hits almost around like 1. They checked me. I'm about almost 8 dilated, but it's starting to hurt really bad. And they gave me an IV. They gave me the IV medication. I didn't want to ask for the epidural. You know, I wanted to stay strong, and I was like, no epidural, no epidural. And they told me that as long as I could stay still, if I was already hitting 9 centimeters or 10 centimeters, that they would still give it to me. So I was like, no, I just want to wait it out. I want to wait it out. So I kept waiting it out. And I mean, a lot of people told me that I was going to take forever to have my baby. It doesn't take a while because everybody says that it's your first baby. You know, girls tend to take a while in labor. Like, the process isn't all that fast. So around 2 a.m. is when the pain started getting a little bit more unbearable. So, you know, it really felt like my body was just like ripping in half. It felt so bad. That's when I was like regretting and overthinking the epidural. I was like, should I get it? I don't want to, because, you know, people say that they have after effects. You know, there was a lot of pros and cons to the epidural, and I was in so much pain that I told the nurse, like, I was screaming at her to just give it to me. Like, I'm pretty sure that I was screaming. So she ended up calling the anesthesiologist so that he can come over and give me the epidural. Okay, well, about 15 minutes went by. He still wasn't there. By the time that I thought he was already gonna get there, she kept telling me, oh my god, he's on his way, like, calm down, like, you'll be fine, he'll be on his way right now so he can give it to you. I instantly felt like a push, like something had dropped and I had to push. Like, there was no stopping. Like, I immediately just, I don't know, like, my body just clicked and I had to push. So I told her, like, no, like, you don't understand, I need to push right now. Well, the doctor was not there. So keep in mind, it was already maybe like 2:20 in the morning. It was like 2:20 a.m. already. He wasn't there, the doctor wasn't there, so they had to call him. So she called him and she was like, don't push, don't push, don't push. But I kept screaming at her that I had to push. I really don't understand why they tell you not to push when your body has the urge of like pushing. So you're like, well, what do you want me to do? Like, if I need to push, I have to push. So she calls the doctor. She says that the doctor's on his way over already, and I'm over here in pain. I need to push. I really need to push. So, you know, I started pushing, and as soon as I started pushing, the doctor walked in. He tells me the same thing. He tells me not to push, to wait till he gets ready. So, you know, he starts to put on his gloves on and everything and all this and that. And, well, I start to push and everything, right? The entire time I was just like, this hurts so bad. By the time that I was actually pushing though, that's like when I could not feel my contractions at all. And since I couldn't feel my contractions at all, while I was pushing, the nurse was screaming at me like, you have to wait till your contraction hits so you can push. Well, I couldn't even feel my contractions, and yes, she kept screaming at me like, wait till your contraction. If it's not a contraction, don't push. But I just kept pushing and pushing, and honestly, it went pretty fast. I lasted almost about like just 2 minutes pushing. And my son was born at about 2:33 a.m. But as the doctor was cleaning up and everything, the nurse walks out of the room, and then she comes back in and she was like, oh, the anesthesiologist was just getting here, but I told him that you didn't need him anymore. So I didn't end up getting an epidural. Maybe for the next one I will, because it honestly hurt really, really bad. But thankfully, you know, I had a healthy baby boy, and he was born on October 10th at 2:33 a.m. He was about 7 pounds exactly, and he was 19.5 inches long. So now my son is 3 months old now, and I mean, he's such a blessing. I love him to death. I swear he was worth every second of that pain. But honestly, I was only in labor. I want to say that I was only in labor, probably for only about like 3 hours until I actually had him. So it wasn't all that bad for me. I mean, other people have longer experience, other people have shorter experiences and everything. But for my first baby, you know, it hurt a lot. But honestly, he's so worth it, and I would not change the experience at all. So thanks again, you guys, if you guys made it to the end of this video. If you did like the video, please go ahead and hit that like button. And if you did make it to the very end, either comment baby's hurt or team no epidural. Because, you know, sadly, I wasn't able to get my epidural. Comment on my video, you know, your experience of how your labor and delivery was. Because mine honestly hurt, but I would not change it for anything. If you want to see more videos like this or other cool videos like makeup video, mommy videos, I mean, if you want to hear updates on my son, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Bye.